Greetings, traders. It's Mohan here for the Boomerang Weekly Profit Report for August 1st through 5th, 2016. An excellent week again on crude oil, and we get a very tremendous return on the market with a very high percentage of winning trades. Please understand the risk disclosure here about futures trading. Just know that it's high risk and only risk capital should be employed. The grand total shown here on this sign was for, again, the crude oil contract symbol CL. The trade setups were 8.1 to 8.5, and I'm going to go over those with you very quickly here because we have bi-weekly webinars you can attend, and we go over in extreme detail. But by going through them quickly, you can actually see them on the charts. There were 40 total exact trade setups that were in line with our precision rules and method. There's no room for fudging. There's no room for guessing on trades. When you buy Boomerang Day Trader, you are in an exact precision winning system, unlike any other in the industry. No other system in the industry will guarantee 90% winning trades, which we do on both the crude oil and the mini NASDAQ, as well as the other U.S. stock indexes. It was a grand total of approximately 380 to 400 ticks total, counting the slippage and everything. And after commission, that's approximately $3,500 to $3,800 per contract. If you're trading two lots, you could see you had a $7,000 week. So this is the way to get into the big bucks using Boomerang and crude oil. You'll do very well with that. Just learn the rules and you'll see what happens. I'm going to go over those with you right now. Very, very simple. First of all, here's the crude oil chart, and this is a West Coast chart. So they're getting going around 6 a.m. on the West Coast, 9 o'clock Eastern. All we're doing, you have these two bands here. See this? This is the dynamic trend band number 1, and this is the dynamic trend band number 2, the thicker solid line. And all we're doing, for simplicity, I don't want to cover any of the other indicators here now because we don't use those to set up the trades. It's so simple. With Boomerang, we have the shaded buy and sell channels, which are alarmed and signaled with an arrow pointing down or up depending on the channel. And as long as that channel is in line with the dynamic trend band colors matching the same bias, we trade a pullback to the signal line, the first one, with them matching after a channel is open, in this case a sell channel on the first winning trade. Once you trade that signal to pullback, which is instantly alarmed and identified with a yellow dot in this case on the sell side and a blue dot on the buy side, we're looking for 10 ticks. This is a scalping method, so we're looking for 8 to 10 ticks, I like to say, but generally 10 ticks will show up, but 8 to 10 because sometimes you get a little slippage or just the nature of trading. But if you're getting 95% winning trades, that's an opportunity for you to get involved every day in trading and do very well without a lot of stress. So here's our first trade today, going short 41.05, so we're going to be looking for 95. On the downside, there's 92, so there's 10 points or 10 ticks right in there. That's $100 per contract in your pocket. No trades until we get down here again. No, there's no buy here because the matching trend bands are not there. However, they're matching here, right? You see a sell channel. Here's a pullback to the signal line at 78, so we're looking for a move down to 68 to 70, and here's 69 coming in right here for 8 to 10 ticks on that trade. Nothing here because we've got a fast ramp up here, and with a spike move like this, you're not going to want to trade at the top of this fat channel. We'll just wait for the next signal. Here's the signal right here, comes in at 72, and they pull them back here all the way down to 63, and you get again the 8 to 10 ticks. Same deal here. The channel spiked up. You could say this was a long because these weren't that spiky here. There wasn't that big of a move. So the pullback coming in at 74, and they ran them up to 83 again for 8 ticks right there. Fast trading, very simple method. Nothing complex. You don't have to read all these complicated amounts of volume coming in within the candles and all that kind of stuff. It gives me a headache to look at some of that stuff. I made Boomerang very, very simple, so you can just go in and make money. Just focus on making money and then go and doing something else with your life rather than racking your brain every day. Here's our next winning trade here, matching dynamic trend bands. You see them right there, sell channel. Trend bands match there, a short for an instant 10 ticks there. Same thing here. The dynamic trend bands, they don't match up here. Here's the sell channel, but they're not matching until this candle right here, and down they go for 10 ticks. And as you come over here, everything's just flipping around. There's no matching dynamic trend bands until you get over here. But this type of setup, and you'll learn this when you come and attend our classes, with this kind of flat and widespread matching dynamic trend band, that's not a good choice for a trade. Even though it did come down and offer 8 ticks, it's just not one we would recommend. Same here. Again, this is what's called a fat channel. We only have 2 rules that we follow. Very simple. With the spike candles coming down, you're not going to trade here at the bottom of the fat channel. You're going to wait for the next setup. Here's an opening buy channel, matching dynamic trend bands, a pull back the signal line, and up they go for 10 ticks. Again, we're going over 5 days very quickly. I'm going to speed up now because I really don't want this tape to get too long. I appreciate you watching it and spending the time, but it's up to you. You know, if you want to come in and make $3,000 to $4,000 a week trading crude oil with just one contract and very low risk, this is the place to do it on Boomerang Day Trader. Just learn our rules. You can attend our bi-weekly classes for free. Here's 10 ticks here. I'll just show you the setups. There's no setups in here. It's all choppy market stuff here, nothing to do. Here's a pullback, the signal line up here, but it fired off exactly while the trade channel is opening, so you might have missed this one. However, here's a trade channel, 10 ticks coming down there. Nothing in here, as there's nothing matching. It's all mismatched here. Sell channel, matching dynamic trend bands here, 10 ticks coming down there. Same thing here, matching dynamic trend bands, new channel, pull back signal line, up they go for 10 ticks. They're not matching here, so there's no trade. Remember the simple rule I told you. You know, market sold off and all, but it doesn't matter where the market goes. We follow a very specific system and rules, and that's how you make 95% winning trades, and we guarantee it. Rather than losing and suffering, we just give you a system that really, really works. Here's a pullback or a new sell or buy channel, matching dynamic trend bands, and up they go. Real nice configuration there. Again, I'm trying to fire through these very quickly. You can stop and start the tape if you want to go over them in detail, or like I said, just email me and I'll be glad to go over it in more detail with you, or attend one of our webinars and request me to go over these days a little slower. I can do that. Pull back the signal line, down they go for 10 ticks. Here's another 10 tick winner here. Here's another 10 tick winner right here. The minute you got in it, they just crashed. Here's a matching dynamic trend bands. This one just barely got in. I would have had to have been in this one live to see exactly if you got in, but you might have missed this one. No big deal. There's always a boomerang trade around the corner if you just patiently wait for the right setups. And there it is, sell channel, matching dynamic trend bands, 10 ticks, down you go. Nothing here. Here's matching dynamic trend bands, a buy channel right here. Pull back the signal line, up they go for 10 ticks. See how that works? It's pretty amazing. Boomerang works very wonderfully here. Pull back the signal line, down they go for 10 ticks. Another 10 tick trade here. See, all matching dynamic trend bands here. That's all you need. You don't have to look at all this complicated stuff and rack your brain with all these complex methods that I see out there. I mean, I go and review a lot of these things that come out. I'm shocked. It gives me a headache just watching their demo videos. Some of them, they're just so complicated. And if you're like me, you just want to make money, right? We just want to go in the markets every day, have a simple, proven system. We're the only one, as mentioned, that guarantees 90% winning trades. There's no other system in the industry that does that. Pull back the signal line here. A little bit of whipsaw, but it held in the 12 to 13 tick stop, no problem, and down they come for 10 ticks. Here's a 10 tick. Well, no, this one just took off without you, so no trade there. And same here, and that's going to happen once in a while. A little frustrating, but that's part of trading. They ran up, they came crashing down, and Boomerang did not get us into either of those. No big deal. It's the way it goes. It's what I say, the way the mop flops. That's what happens sometimes. Boomerang trade here, and up they go. Now remember what I just gave you, those figures, that averages about 7 trades a day. So what you're doing is you're coming to work. Now this is a trade setup here which is called a trend trade, where the dynamic trend band number 1 crosses over the cobra. This dotted line is called the cobra. Trade a pullback to the cobra and up they go for 10 ticks. Average of 7 trades a day. That's $700 per contract minus some commission. If you want to make $700 with a very small trading account, $4,000 or $5,000, come to buy Boomerang Day Trader. Join with us. Learn how to trade with Boomerang. There's another winning trade there, and you will be able to accomplish that. This happens almost every week. Let me find here. It comes in the last. This is Friday's action here. And again, if you want to see these in slower motion, you can stop the chart, stop and start the chart, or just email me and I can show you. Here's a winning trade here. Again, sell channel, matching dynamic trend bands, pullback sig line, which is marked real time. If I go back a year, say it's a year ahead from now, we're in 2017, I can go back to this exact chart and that same yellow dot will be there and the time and sales will match up. Sell there, another sell channel there. Look how simple that is. Just match up the dynamic trend bands and take the trade. Here's another one here, 10 ticks. Another one here, matching dynamic trend bands, sell channel way up there, but there's a pullback there, 10 ticks. Boomerang's going to mark 6 pullbacks to the signal line after the trade channel opens. And we have very specific rules for how you can follow this. Again, here's a trend trade up here for 10 ticks and a sell trade down here. Let's see, that captured 10, 28 came down to 18. Yeah, 10 ticks right here as well. Very routine, matching dynamic trend bands. Pull back the signal line here or here for 10 ticks. All you got to do is get involved and just get really good at using Boomerang. And with those kind of percentage odds of winning trades showing up, again, trend trade here moving up, you're going to put yourself in front of a 90 to 95% with crude oil winning trade system. You're going to be able to make money. So thanks very much for joining with us today. Email me on the message here on the blog that I'm sending out to you. And if you have any questions, we'll be glad to invite you to our bi-weekly training classes. So thanks again for joining with us.